How are thoughts preventing your awakening from the illusion of you? This is very present right now. And when I say thoughts, I mean opinions, preferences, beliefs, fixations. Preferences could look like hobbies, habits, compulsions, obsessions, addictions. Thoughts take many forms. And what's really important to grok about this is when I say thoughts and opinions, I am talking about the very cellular structure of a sense of I, or a sense of me. Thoughts are persnickety, and they're shape-shifty. They're shape-shifty. They come in many forms, in many flavors, but their core cellular level is the same. Let me build a world apart from all that is, which is what I am. So the main point I want to drive home is that if what's listening right now to this talk, whatever is going to be said or comes through, is the sense of me, the me suit that has closed in, you're not going to get this. It's going to be like hogwash or word salad, as some put it. And that's okay. There's nothing you need to get or not get. If something in your gut, intuition, or whatever's present says, despite it being hogwash, I want to hear this, then try your very best to suspend thinking from the hearing. That's my invitation. You don't need to think about whatever is said. Simply be with it. Truth takes care of everything. So thoughts and opinions. I'm really thinking about opinions. I like this, I don't like this. This is the political candidate I prefer, and this is the one I don't, and here's all the reasons. I like to eat vegan, not meat eat. I like to wear marigold, not wear blues or grays. This is the best restaurant in town, I would never eat here. That person used to be my friend, but she's dead to me now because she did X, Y, and Z. Here's just a whole big collection of opinions about what's good, what's bad, and which side of those opinions I stand on. The sense of I, literally. And the reason that is encapsulating you in a sense of me and I and preventing the waking up from that tiny little capsule of me and I is because it's always linked back to the story of I. Okay, and it's self-perpetuating. So a thought in of itself, it's benign, neutral. Really, it's neutral matter. If it's birthed from all that is, it's not really a problem per se. However, when it starts to reinforce again and again a separate sense of I, a separate self, that's when things get a little hairy. Because it continues to spin a silent tale of bedrock belief that you must hide out in a sense of I and me, separate from all that is. Now, when the opinions and thoughts are going well, i.e. it's stoking a good sense of I'm mostly likable, I have a good life or a good enough life, I get up in the morning and I can look myself in the mirror and feel good about things. 10 people call me every day. It means I'm loved, whatever the thing is. Then you feel like there's no problem with thoughts and opinions, right? The sense of I that's stoked is very comfortable and familiar. However, the ego's like that frenemy that sometimes seems really nice to you at a party, but then will turn on you when you're not looking or you're not around. It will eventually catapult you into deep suffering. And the thing is, you don't often see the suffering at first, but some do, especially if you have a trauma history and you're very familiar with potent here and now suffering. But all separate self illusions suffer, all of them. At some point, you will hit your suffering. The very thing that I want to say you created, words are sticky here. It's hard to talk about this stuff. But the very thing that you created, which is the you, will be the rug pull that can wake you up from what is not real. okay? The very thing that you created will be the thing that brings you to your knees and makes you experience excruciating suffering. It's almost harder when you don't see the suffering, because the sense of I just reinforces itself thicker and thicker. It's like a fog you got to penetrate or break out of, but the I never wants you to look there. And it says there's no fog. What are you talking about? The things that the lady is saying is making no sense, right? So I feel like it's important to share that the thoughts themselves and the opinions themselves that reinforce a separate sense of I, even when things are going well, they are not real, and they are not your friend, and they are not to be taken seriously, okay? Things will flip on you. Like I said, what's good one day, a sense of I, can lead to suffering the very next day. And often suffering, that slight sense of unease with all of life or people, for some people it's social anxiety, is always there, was always there as soon as a sense of I came online. Often in childhood, you can point back to a time when you were free of a concept of I that had to interface with life or the world. And that was sort of the freest you can remember. And so we look back on that time in childhood, like, remember when I was free and not constantly taking care of a sense of I and trying to make it look good, and then behind closed doors, perhaps falling apart a little bit, but then going back out to the world with a good face. Some people, again, with trauma can't really point to that time. Perhaps they came in with parents who were themselves on fire inside and needed the kids to compensate for their internal distress. We could call it karma. We could call it their vow to wake up in this lifetime. Who knows why trauma besets some childhoods and not others. But those folks I work with will say, no, Jasmine, I cannot point to a time when things were more free, or I was in a childhood that felt more light, right? Light, i.e. without the sense of I constantly being projected onto life. And to you I say, pull up a chair, darling. You're welcome here. And perhaps your greatest suffering is going to be your portal to truth. And in some ways, perhaps it will be easier. Now, I do not invalidate the trauma when I say easier. I just want to say suffering, the pain, the suffering is a portal to truth. It is nothing to be feared or avoided. And it's been said it's the last place that you want to look, that pain, which is why awakening can feel so far off. It's like, no, I'm only in pain. I don't want to go deeper into that, right? I want to find the people I can blame for it. I want to be a victim that heals. I'm a healed victim now. And then I want to go on with what I call my life. There's something far more free and more honest and more real than that. And that is what I'm attempting to hold out. So that's my little message specifically to folks who deem themselves having gone through trauma in this life. So opinions, thoughts, they continue to sew a story of I, like a beautiful little fabric that almost becomes invisible. It gets fused with life. Thoughts in of themselves, I was saying, yes, are benign, neutral. Sorry, losing the plot back here. Thoughts in and of themselves are benign. A thought that reinforces a sense of I, now that's when illusion starts to get all interwoven invisibly into all it is. Here's an example. I'm thinking about Eckhart Tolle here, a talk I heard from Eckhart Tolle. It's like a thought of time, right? Time is bendy. Time isn't real. That's why it's bendy. Whatever future we get to, we're going to experience here and now. There is only here and now. There is only here and now. Let's take that in together. There is only here and now. This is the only here and now we're ever in, ever. So Eckhart Tolle was using the example like to get to the lecture he had to give at 10 a.m. is not in and of itself bad. It's sort of like a placeholder for something that perhaps arrived intuitively and spirit-led, if you want to use those words, but something that was going to happen, like giving some sort of talk. As long as it's not reinforcing a sense of I that says, I'm the one who has to go and talk, better get this right, because if I don't get it right, it's going to land back on a sense of me that I'm constantly trying to take care of and make invulnerable, right? Because it's so vulnerable. and it needs to be good and look good and gain validation and earn love, right? Now, if Eckhart Tolle was sitting there sweating like the 10 a.m. talk, Eckhart Tolle has to do really good at it, then that's not a benign thought. But if it's just, 10 a.m., that's when apparent bodies are going to gather at that place we call whatever hall, Radio City Music Hall or wherever, and apparently this body is going to try to get there and say some things. We'll see what happens, right? You also do a letting go when you commit to a time. Now I'm kind of mixing a couple of things. I'll do a whole nother talk about time. Time is really fun when you start to see how bendy it is. But it's in reinforcing the sense of I that any thought then becomes sticky. Now, another example might be a thought that says, this pizza I'm eating right now, it no longer satisfies us. I'm going to stop. Okay? It's not even a thought. You can literally live that. Suddenly you're stopping. And there's no thought you have to do. There's no extra step of having to think about that. But you see how just you're stopping. You're full. No need to enjoy the pizza further. It has nothing to do with I. So it doesn't mean you can't go to the restaurant and say, pizza for dinner. And then you're eating it and suddenly done with pizza. It's neutral. But if it becomes this pizza I cooked for the family no one's eating, am I a good mother? Am I a good cook? I needed to be a good cook so I could wake up in the morning and feel good about what's here. Now this is one tiny thought. Imagine there's a billion of them that need to reinforce a sense of I. Who are my friends? What is my title? Maybe what's the letters after my name? How far have I gone in the education system to validate who I am and how smart I am? Where do I live? What do I look like? How many wrinkles do I have or don't have? All these things are thoughts that get sticky and reinforce a sense that there's a separate I here. That is how thoughts are preventing your awakening from the illusion of you. And it's okay. You might have to look again and again and again. You might have to listen to talks such as these and resist them 100 times. That's quackery, what this person is saying. That's okay. The sense of me can be thick. The fog can be thick. It can feel impenetrable, but it is not, I promise you. I like to say, if I can wake up out of a sense of I, anyone can. Because I would have said, I'm the most enlightened victim, you know. I will never wake up out of a sense of I. So much so I didn't know there was a sense of I to wake up out of, okay? But I promise you, if I can, we all can. You can wake up from this. What do you wake up to? That's a whole nother video. This could go on and on. Don't take my word for what you wake up to. A little taste of it might be a peace that passeth all understanding. Isn't that the most beautiful biblical quote there ever was? A peace that passeth all understanding. That's what you wake up to. And I promise you, you don't get to take me and I into that peace. It's not the I that enjoys that peace. The I is gone. You don't need it anymore. Just like you do not need to visit thought over and over and over again to do what we call living. Most of us, most of the time, are not living. We are thinking and calling it being alive. I think I'm going to pause here because so many other little inspirations are coming through. But let's just sandwich it for now. Oh, one more thing, actually. What does this look like in real lifetime? To not let thoughts prevent you from living, right? To not get caught in the I cage. I'll give an example from this morning in my kitchen with my family. The bustling, making the French oatmeal with the egg, and my children wanting more and more balloons, and a little bit of a kerfuffle over like some tired emotions that came out in my daughter. Whatever needed to be said or done was said and done. It was not me saying or doing. It was simply responding to what was required of whatever moment I was in, which there really only is one moment. It's now. There was a little bit of charge coming. Charge meaning there was activity in what we might call the body. There was a felt sense of something. So I'm feeling it. I'm attuning to it. I'm there with it. You might notice if something needs to be said or done. More often than not, nothing needs to be said or done. And then there's a walking outside, beginning to water your garden. Walking out to the lychee tree with my blue bucket full of water And suddenly the wind blows. The wind is blowing. Hello, wind. Now, someone who's blown past all sense of duality probably wouldn't say hello, wind, but oh well. Hello, wind. And you feel that wind. I felt that wind. I am that wind. It's like you don't have to jump through, oh, the wind is there, it's going to be a windy day. Suddenly wind blows and you are that wind. Watering the lychee. Whatever happened in the kitchen, it's gone. There's feeling whatever charge it brought up, and you're watering, and you are the wind, and you are the water, and you are the lychee tree growing. There's no sense of I that needs to be added to that. There's nothing to carry over from the kitchen. I want to hand you on a platter that sweet sense of wind blowing that is only what we call ourselves. And that's it. It becomes that simple and that beautiful. That's what is to be said for now. Ta-ta for now. Aloha.